Hey guys, welcome to today's video where I'm going to talk to you about beating the heat with buzzbaits. Fish on! That's a toad, brother. Golly! All right guys, for this video, I partnered with the folks from Monster Bass a little bit earlier in the season to do a tip on buzzbaits and how I modify them. Now, that video still holds true, and there are plenty of times that I'm going to use the Yama frog, and I'm going to use it with and without the skirt, depending on how I'm fishing. Here's how it works. If I'm fishing over pads and things like that where it's going to be a steady retrieve, I'm going to get rid of the skirt. If I'm fishing in a scenario where I'm going to start and stop that bait, like around wood, over grass that's submerged and things like that, I'm going to leave the skirt on, so when I start and stop the bait, that skirt gives it a little bit of a pulse action. As we get a little bit later into the summer, like we are now in August, I'm a big fan of narrowing the bait trailer up like this Yamamoto Zako right here, because I'm going to be able to burn it. I'm going to be able to fish it a lot faster. And so to accomplish fishing it fast, I go with a bait that's got a little bit more of a flat head on it, which is going to give it some lift. And I really love these counter rotating blades like on this Booyah buzzbait here. Now this small Strike King buzzbait right here is something that I'm going to go to with no trailer hook, and a skirt. Anytime I'm throwing as tight to the bank as I can. I want a small bait, I love a gold blade, I love a natural skirt, and I'm gonna fish that early in the morning, and I'm gonna fish it late in the afternoon, and pretty much after that, I'm gonna switch to black. I'm gonna fish this as slow as I can, I'm gonna fish this as fast as I can. But I wanted to share this video that I did with you guys from the folks at Monster Bass, because there's a lot of insight that I shared in that video that I think is still relevant. So let's check out my video on fishing buzzbaits with the folks at Monster Bass. Hey guys, I'm Chad Hoover. Welcome to the Monster Bass channel, where we're gonna talk about buzzing toads for big old bass. All right, so pretty much anytime the water temperature gets above 55 degrees, one of the things I'm gonna have tied on is a buzzbait. Now, a lot of people think a buzzbait is a low light, throw it in the morning, throw it in the afternoon deal, but when I tie on a black buzzbait, I can throw that thing all day long. It doesn't matter if the sun's shining, it doesn't matter how clear the water is or how stained the water is. In fact, I have a lot more success with black buzzbaits in the middle of the day than I do any other color. I like to use white, I like to use more natural colors, but for whatever reason, that black color really does well. One of the things I like to do, especially after that water temperature gets up and you know those bass are post-spawn and they're really trying to feed up, is to add a frog or a buzz toad trailer to the back of my buzzbaits. Now, a lot of people, the first thing that they do when they do that is they tear the skirt off. One of the things that I really like to do is to pulse a buzzbait. A lot of people don't realize this, but you can slow a buzzbait down and let it be running just below the surface, and it's basically an inline spinner, and big fish will wake on that bait and turn off. But if you slow it down and bulge it, they'll smash it. So when you're doing a start and stop, that skirt really gives it an extra bit of a pulse. Looks a lot like a brim, looks like a lot like a bluegill, depending on what part of the country you're in. And it just creates a heck of a lot different look than they've seen in a lot of other cases. Now, the big reason that I like to use the Yama frog from Yamamoto is it's got a big, broad surface area. The legs are super soft, so you don't have to do a whole lot to get action out of them. I usually start out with it full size and thread it on there, so it gives me more surface area and lift. But if the bass are following it and they're not committing, I like to cut off about a 1/4 inch and then work my way all the way down to as much as a 1/2 inch to give that bait a little bit more of a blunt leading edge. The more blunt that leading edge is, the slower you can reel that bait, because it creates lift and it creates drag, so you can sit there and really slow reel that thing. So even though I like to fish it slow, I really like to use a long rod. It gives me a lot of leverage for setting the hook. It gives me a lot of leverage for turning those fish away from cover. In this case, I'm using a 7'11" rod, but I'm using a high speed gear ratio reel. I'm using a 7.4 to 1 today, and I'll go as high as an 8.5 to 1 when I really want to burn a buzzbait. But you do need to slow that thing down at certain times. If there's a mistake that I see anglers make more often than not, it's that they throw a buzzbait in open water only, they don't try to get it into tight spots, and they fish it way too fast. Now, I'm gonna be the last person that'll tell you that you can't fish a buzzbait fast. In fact, I think sometimes you can't fish it too fast. You can burn that thing as fast as you can possibly burn it, and as long as it's staying in the water, it's gonna catch fish. But then there's other times, especially post-spawn and off-peak periods when those fish aren't chasing, that you can slow that thing down run it into stuff, and that's why a trailer, especially a buzz toad, and in this case the Yama frog, just gives it that extra lift so you can reel it that much slower, and when it bumps into cover and kicks off of there, you're gonna get a lot of reaction bites. All right guys, so I hope you're enjoying this video, but there's a lot more to monster bass than buzz baits. In fact, what I love about monster bass is they're investing in the education of anglers on not just how to use their baits better, but how to catch more fish. And that's why I'm excited to be working with these guys. But y'all do me a favor and consider subscribing to the Monster Bass box. They've got a lot more box options than pretty much anybody else out there. They've got tailored boxes, they've got regional boxes, they've got something specifically for you and where you fish. So consider subscribing to Monster Bass. And now let's get back to the video. All right, so one of the easiest things you can do to increase your hookup ratio with a buzz bait is to add a tow trailer. What it does is it gives the bait more lift, gives it a broader target in the back, makes it more compact and focuses the bite right where the hook is. Gives it a little bit of action when you're fishing it slower, gives it a little bit of lift to keep it up on the surface. Guys, you can't go wrong adding a tow trailer to the back of your buzz bait. All right guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video about buzz bait fishing. It is one of those things that I probably fish too much, but the only way you can fish a buzz bait wrong is to not fish it at all. When it's the dog days of summer and you can get out there early, you can stay late, or you can fish at night, you probably can't fish anything more effective, at least more effective for creating an adrenaline rush than a buzz bait. You're gonna cover water, you're gonna put it in front of fish, you're gonna appeal to aggressive fish, and you're gonna elicit some unbelievable strikes. All right, so get out there and add a buzz bait to your arsenal. One of the fun things about buzz bait fishing is experimenting with trailers and colors and sizes and blade styles and all that good stuff. So y'all do me a favor, leave me a comment in the comment section below with your favorite buzz bait hack. And if I think that it's a hack worth sharing with the community, I'll highlight your comment, I'll feature it in the next video, and I'll send you a package of some of my favorite buzz baits. I'll see y'all in the next video.